Ex-husband was mocking his ex-wife with his friend at the company retreat when she walked with his boss and their son. What she did next left everyone speechless. She probably still lives in that paint-splattered studio, surviving on pennies. Trevor Lawson laughed, swirling his whiskey. He sat in a leather armchair at Cedar Peak Lodge, surrounded by colleagues who hung on his every word. The fireplace crackled behind him. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light across the room. Then the doors opened. A woman walked in wearing a coat worth more than his car. Behind her, a small boy with Trevor's exact face. Trevor's glass slipped from his fingers. Amber liquid bled into the Persian rug. The woman stopped directly in front of him. Her voice was calm, clear, devastating. "I heard everything you said about me, Trevor. Every single word. You said I was not smart enough. You said I was probably still serving coffee somewhere. Should we discuss that before or after you begged me for the business deal that could save your career?" The room went silent. Every executive stared. Trevor could not breathe. "Because I am Paige Winters, CEO of Winters Design Collective, worth $43 million. And this is Owen, your son, the one you never knew existed because you blocked my number and disappeared 8 years ago." Trevor's entire world collapsed in that moment. "But before we get into the full story, I need you to do something for me. If you have ever talked badly about someone only to have karma catch up to you, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. And subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because the stories on this channel will change the way you see success, relationships, and second chances. Trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. Now let's rewind and see exactly how Trevor destroyed his life and whether he could ever piece it back together. 3 years earlier, Chicago, Illinois, late November. Trevor Reed adjusted his tie in the bathroom mirror of his downtown apartment. The reflection showed a man who had everything figured out. Expensive suit, polished shoes, confident smile. He was 32 years old, senior consultant at Ashton & Carver, one of the most prestigious firms in the Midwest. His apartment had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Michigan Avenue. His car was German. His watch was Swiss. His life was exactly what he had planned. Trevor's phone buzzed. A text from Joel Pemberton, leaving in 20. "Do not be late. Douglas hates late." Trevor grabbed his leather weekend bag. The annual executive retreat. 3 days at Cedar Peak Lodge in the mountains. Networking. Strategy sessions. Bourbon by the fireplace. This was where careers were made, where partnerships were offered. Trevor had been working toward this for 6 years. He thought about his father as he locked his apartment door. Bernard Lawson, corporate attorney, cold, calculating, successful. Bernard had raised Trevor with one philosophy: your worth is measured by your position and your income. Everything else is noise. Trevor had internalized that lesson completely. The drive to Cedar Peak took 4 hours. Joel picked him up in his Range Rover. They talked about the Riverside Development Project, the biggest contract Ashton & Carver had ever pursued. $80 million. Mixed-use development downtown. The firm that won this contract would dominate the market for the next decade. "We are meeting with the mystery partner this weekend," Joel said, merging onto the highway. "Douglas has been secretive about it. Some hotshot architect. Supposed to be a game changer." Trevor scrolled through his phone. "Who? No idea. Douglas will not say, just that they are brilliant and we are lucky to get the meeting." They arrived at Cedar Peak Lodge as the sun set behind the mountains. The building was magnificent. Timber beams, stone facades, massive windows framing snow-dusted peaks. Inside, a great room stretched before them with leather furniture arranged around a stone fireplace. A chandelier made of antlers hung from the vaulted ceiling. Everything screamed wealth and success. Douglas Carver stood near the bar, talking with other executives. He was 65, silver-haired, sharp-eyed. He had built Ashton & Carver from nothing into a powerhouse. He did not tolerate weakness or excuses. Trevor and Joel checked in, dropped their bags in their rooms, then joined the group in the great room. Vanessa Chen was there, the marketing director. Bryson Hale, Douglas's young assistant. A dozen other consultants and directors. Everyone dressed in expensive casual wear. Everyone drinking premium bourbon or single malt scotch. Trevor settled into a leather armchair near the fireplace. The heat felt good after the cold drive. He accepted a glass of Macallan from the bartender. This was his world. These were his people. Success recognized success. The conversation flowed. Business strategy, market trends, office politics. Then Joel leaned back in his chair and grinned at Trevor. So whatever happened to that girl you used to date? The artsy one. What was her name? Trevor's mind went back 8 years. Paige. He had not thought about her in forever. A small smile crossed his face. Paige. God, I have not thought about her in years. Vanessa shifted uncomfortably in her seat. She glanced at Trevor, then looked away. What happened with her? Joel pressed. You dated for a while, right? Trevor took a sip of whiskey. 6 months, maybe 7. She was painting murals for coffee shops, called herself a visual artist. He laughed. I mean, come on. A few other executives had drifted closer, drawn by the conversation. Trevor noticed the audience. Something in him wanted to perform, to be funny, to be impressive. She lived in this tiny studio apartment on the south side. Paint everywhere. Canvases stacked against the walls. She ate ramen noodles for dinner because she could barely afford groceries. Trevor shook his head. She was talented, I guess. But talent does not pay bills. What did she look like? Someone asked. Beautiful, Trevor admitted. Dark skin, amazing smile, creative mind, but completely impractical. She had all these big dreams about transforming communities through public art, making spaces that served people. I mean, it sounded nice, but it was not realistic. She was going to be poor forever. So, you ended it? Joel asked. I needed someone on my level. Trevor said. He leaned back in his chair, getting comfortable. Someone with actual ambition. Someone who understood what it takes to build a real career. Paige was sweet, but she was not smart enough for what I needed. Vanessa's face tightened. Trevor, maybe we should talk about something else. I am just being honest. Trevor continued. He had finished his first whiskey and was halfway through his second. The warmth spread through his chest. His tongue loosened. When my business partners met her, they asked why I was dating a waitress. Because she was waitressing too, at this place called Sam's Diner. Greasy burgers and weak coffee. I started feeling embarrassed when clients asked about my girlfriend. I would change the subject. Bryson cleared his throat. Mr. Lawson, I think maybe you should stop. Trevor waved him off. Look, I am not trying to be cruel. I am just saying I made the right call. I needed a partner who could match my trajectory. Someone impressive. Paige was holding me back. So I ended it, blocked her number, and moved on. She is probably still in that same studio apartment, painting for pennies, barely making rent. The room had gone quiet. Several executives looked uncomfortable. Joel stared at his drink. Vanessa stood up, grabbing her coat. I just remembered I have calls to make, she said coldly. Excuse me. She walked away. Trevor barely noticed. He was on a roll now, feeding off the attention. The thing about people like Paige is they do not understand how the world works, Trevor continued. They think passion and creativity matter more than money, but passion does not pay for health care. Creativity does not build retirement accounts. I tried to explain that to her, but she did not get it. She kept talking about making art that mattered, that changed lives. He laughed again. Changed lives. She was delusional. Bryson was staring at the entrance to the great room. His face had gone pale. Mr. Lawson, seriously, you need to stop talking. Why? Trevor asked. It is true. Paige had no education past community college, no business sense, no plan for the future. She was just drifting through life, hoping her paintings would magically make her successful. I mean, she was 26 years old, living like a teenager. I did her a favor by leaving. Maybe it motivated her to get a real job. The doors to the great room opened. Cold air rushed in. Everyone turned. A woman stepped inside. She was tall, wearing a charcoal coat that fit perfectly. Designer. Expensive. Her dark hair was swept into an elegant twist. Diamond earrings caught the light from the chandelier. She moved with the kind of confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are and what you are worth. Her heels clicked on the marble floor. Each step deliberate, powerful. Behind her, a small boy walked carefully. He looked about 7 years old. He wore a navy peacoat and held the woman's hand. His eyes were wide, taking in the massive lodge. Trevor's laugh died in his throat. The woman's eyes swept the room. They landed on Trevor. She stopped walking. For a moment, her expression remained neutral. Professional. Then something flickered across her face. Recognition. And something colder. Trevor stared at her. His mind raced through possibilities, scrambling for explanations. The woman looked familiar. Something about her face, her eyes. But she could not be who he thought she was. That was impossible. That woman was poor, struggling, painting in a run-down studio. This woman was clearly wealthy, successful, powerful. Then Trevor looked at the boy. Really looked at him. The boy had Trevor's eyes, Trevor's nose, Trevor's jawline. Even the way he stood, slightly pigeon-toed, was exactly how Trevor stood as a child. Trevor's chest tightened. He could not breathe. His whiskey glass began to slip from his fingers. Douglas Carver walked past Trevor toward the woman. His face broke into a warm smile. A smile Trevor had never seen Douglas wear in all his years at the firm. "Everyone," Douglas announced, his voice filling the great room. "I would like you to meet Paige Winters, principal architect and creative director of Winters Design Collective." The room erupted in polite applause. Trevor's glass fell. It hit the edge of the side table, tipped, and crashed to the floor. Amber liquid spread across the Persian rug. No one seemed to notice except Bryson, who quickly grabbed napkins and knelt to clean it up. Douglas continued, "Paige's firm has transformed urban landscapes across North America. She specializes in adaptive design that integrates community needs with environmental sustainability. Her work has won international awards. The Riverside Development Project, our largest contract to date, will only succeed with her vision and expertise. We are incredibly fortunate that she has agreed to partner with us. This collaboration represents the future of Ashton and Carver." Executive stood, moving forward to shake Paige's hand. She greeted each person with a firm handshake and direct eye contact. Professional, gracious, completely in control. Trevor remained frozen in his chair. His mind could not process what was happening. Paige Winters, principal architect, $43 million, international awards. This was impossible. 8 years ago she was painting murals for $200. She was eating ramen. She was going nowhere. Paige's hand moved to the boy's shoulder. "And this is my son, Owen." The room filled with friendly greetings. A few executives bent down to say hello to Owen. The boy was shy but polite. He smiled and answered questions quietly. Douglas guided Paige toward the fireplace area, directly toward Trevor. "Paige, I would like you to meet some of our senior team." Douglas gestured to the group. "This is Trevor Lawson, one of our senior consultants." Trevor stood automatically. His legs felt weak. He extended his hand without thinking. Paige looked at him for a long moment. Then she took his hand. Her grip was firm, controlled. Her skin was warm. "Hello, Trevor," she said. Her voice was calm, steady. "It has been a long time." Trevor opened his mouth. No words came out. His throat had turned to dust. "I am Paige Williams." She turned slightly to address the group, though her eyes remained on Trevor. "Thank you for meeting with me tonight. I am excited about the possibilities of this partnership." Owen tugged on Paige's coat. "Mom, can I sit down? I am tired." "Of course, sweetheart." Paige knelt beside him. Her entire demeanor softened. She brushed his hair back gently. "Why do not you go with Bryson? I think there are cookies in the dining room." Bryson stood quickly, grateful for an escape. He extended his hand to Owen. "Come on, buddy. Let's go find those cookies. And maybe some hot chocolate." Owen looked at his mother. She nodded. Owen took Bryson's hand and walked with him toward the dining room. As they passed Trevor, Owen glanced up at him. The boy's eyes were curious, innocent. He had no idea he was looking at his father. Once Owen was out of earshot, Paige straightened. The softness vanished. She turned to Douglas. "Mr. Carver, I apologize, but I need to address something before we proceed with any business discussion." Douglas frowned. "Is there a problem, Paige? I overheard a conversation that was happening in this room before I entered." Paige's voice remained calm, but something steel-like ran beneath it. "The acoustics in this lodge are quite good. Voices carry. I was standing in the entryway for about 2 minutes before I walked in." Trevor felt his stomach drop. "No. Please, no." Paige looked around the room. Her gaze swept across the executives who remained. Most had started to drift away, sensing danger. Paige's voice stopped them. Please stay. I want witnesses." The room froze. Joel looked at Trevor with wide eyes. Vanessa had returned and stood near the entrance, arms crossed. Every executive in the room slowly turned back toward Paige. Paige looked directly at Trevor. "You said I was just a waitress. You said I was not smart enough for you. You said I am probably still living in a paint-splattered studio, surviving on pennies, barely making rent." Trevor's face burned. He wanted to disappear, to run, to be anywhere but here. But his legs would not move. He stood paralyzed as every person in the room stared at him. Paige continued, 8 years ago, Trevor ended our relationship by telling me I was not worthy of his trajectory. Her voice remained steady, controlled, but each word landed like a hammer. He said I was holding him back, that I was not impressive enough to introduce to his colleagues, that I needed to get a real job and stop being delusional about my art career. Gasps rippled through the room. Douglas's expression hardened. His jaw clenched. Joel set down his drink and backed away slowly. "What Trevor did not know," Paige said, turning slightly to address the full room, "what he did not bother to find out, because he blocked my number and moved apartments without leaving a forwarding address, was that I was pregnant." The gasps turned into shocked murmurs. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth. Trevor tried to speak. "Paige, I did not. I had no idea that you were. I know you did not know." Paige cut him off. Her voice was sharp now, cutting. "You did not know because you did not care. You blocked my number the day after you dumped me. You moved 2 weeks later. I tried to find you. I called your office. They said you no longer worked there. I went to your apartment. The landlord said you had moved and left no forwarding information. I had $300 to my name and a baby on the way. Actually, 4 babies. Quadruplets." The room went completely silent. Even the fire seemed to stop crackling. "I was 26 years old." Paige continued, "Pregnant with quadruplets. Alone. No family in Chicago. The man I loved had told me my dreams were worthless and I was not good enough for him. I had 2 choices. Believe him or prove him wrong." Trevor's legs gave out. He sank back into the leather chair. His hands were shaking. He could not look at Paige, could not look at anyone. "I chose to prove him wrong," Paige said. "I lived in my car for 2 months, a 1997 Honda Civic. I parked in hospital parking lots because they were safe and well lit. I painted commission murals during the day. Small jobs, $200 here, $300 there. I was 6 months pregnant, climbing scaffolding, painting the side of a community center in Pilsen." Douglas was staring at Trevor with unconcealed disgust. Joel had disappeared entirely. Vanessa remained by the door, tears in her eyes. "After Owen was born, actually, after all 4 boys were born, I stayed in a women's shelter." Paige pulled out her phone. She swiped through something, then turned the screen toward the group. Photos of a much younger Paige, holding 4 tiny babies. The image was clearly taken in an institutional room. Concrete walls, fluorescent lights, 4 bassinets lined up. "I worked 3 jobs." Paige continued. "I cleaned office buildings at night. I served food at a catering company during the day. I took online design courses at midnight after the boys finally fell asleep. I saved every single dollar, every penny. For 2 years I worked 20-hour days." She swiped to another photo. A small kitchen table covered in paperwork and design sketches. A laptop, 4 toddlers asleep in pack and plays visible in the background. "When the boys were 2, I started a consulting business from my kitchen table. Small projects, logo designs for $50, website layouts for $200. I built a portfolio. I entered competitions. And when the boys were 2.5, I won an international design competition for adaptive urban green spaces." Another photo. Paige on a stage, holding a large check. $50,000. First prize. 4 small boys in the front row with a woman who must have been babysitting them. I used that $50,000 to officially launch Winter's Design Collective. Paige said, "Within 1 year, we had 5 employees and 12 projects. Within 3 years, we had expanded to 4 cities. Within 5 years, we were internationally recognized. Today, we employ 67 people. We are valued at $43 million. Last year, I gave the keynote address at the Global Architecture Summit in Copenhagen. She locked her phone and looked directly at Trevor. "So when you said I was probably still serving coffee and living in a studio apartment, you were wrong. When you said I was not smart enough, you were wrong. When you said passion and creativity do not matter, you were wrong about everything." Trevor's eyes burned. Tears threatened. He blinked them back. His throat was so tight he could barely breathe. Paige's voice softened slightly, but became no less powerful. "Owen is 7 years old. He loves astronomy. He builds elaborate structures with blocks that show an intuitive understanding of engineering. He asks profound questions about why buildings make people feel certain ways. He is brilliant, kind, curious, and the single best thing in my life." She paused. Let the weight of that settle. His father has never met him, never supported him, never even knew he existed. Not because I kept Owen from him, but because Trevor made himself unreachable. Because he decided I was not worth his time. Because he measured my value by my job and my income and found me lacking. Douglas spoke. His voice was cold, hard. "Trevor, is this true? All of it?" Trevor could not speak. He managed a small nod. His entire body felt numb. Paige took a breath, composed herself. When she spoke again, her voice was professional. Controlled. "That is all I wanted to say. Trevor, I do not want your apology. I do not want your money. I do not want anything from you. I achieved everything you said I could not. I did it alone. I did it while raising 4 children by myself. This partnership with Ashton and Carver represents the culmination of years of work. I will not let your presence derail it." She turned to Douglas. "However, I need to know if this changes our arrangement. I understand if the situation creates an uncomfortable dynamic for the firm." "The only thing that has changed," Douglas interrupted, his voice like gravel, "is my assessment of my senior staff." He stared at Trevor with open contempt. "Trevor, my office. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. sharp." Trevor felt his career flash before his eyes. Partnership. Gone. Riverside project. Gone. Everything. Paige nodded once. "Then I suggest we continue with the scheduled presentations. I have a detailed proposal for the Riverside project that I am eager to share with the team." She walked toward the dining room to retrieve Owen. The click of her heels on marble was the only sound in the silent room. Every executive watched her go. No one looked at Trevor. After Paige disappeared through the doorway, the room erupted in whispers. Executives huddled together, talking urgently. Phones appeared. Text messages flew. Within minutes, everyone at the retreat would know what happened. Trevor remained in the leather chair, frozen. The spilled whiskey had left a dark stain on the Persian rug beside him. It looked like blood. Joel appeared at his elbow. He leaned down and whispered, "What the hell were you thinking?" Trevor could not answer. "You just humiliated yourself in front of Douglas and the entire senior staff." Joel hissed, "And you did it while insulting the architect we need for our biggest contract ever. Are you insane?" "I did not know." Trevor managed to whisper, "I did not know she would be here." "That does not matter." Joel snapped. "You sat here and trashed your ex-girlfriend, who apparently built a multi-million-dollar company while raising your 4 kids alone." "Jesus, Trevor." Joel walked away. Trevor sat alone. The fire crackled. Conversations buzzed around him, but no one approached. No one made eye contact. He had become invisible. Worse than invisible. Toxic. Bryson returned with Owen. The boy was eating a chocolate chip cookie. He looked tired. Paige appeared a moment later. She had removed her coat. Underneath, she wore a simple but elegant black dress. She looked polished, professional, completely unshaken. Douglas approached her. "Paige, would you like to present now? Or would you prefer to wait until tomorrow morning when everyone is fresh?" "Now is fine," Paige said. She smiled at Owen. "Sweetheart, Bryson is going to take you upstairs to our room. You can watch a movie and get ready for bed. I will be up in about an hour. Is that okay?" Owen nodded. "Okay, Mom." He looked around the room with curious eyes. Then his gaze landed on Trevor again. The boy stared at him for a long moment. Trevor could not look away. He saw himself in that face. Undeniably, Owen was his son. "Come on, buddy," Bryson said gently. "Let's go watch that space documentary you wanted to see." They left. Paige moved to the front of the room where a screen had been set up. Douglas handed her a remote. She connected her laptop. Within seconds, a sleek presentation appeared on the screen. Winters Design Collective logo. Then the title. Riverside Development. A vision for community-integrated urban living. Paige began to speak. Her voice was confident, articulate. She described her vision for the Riverside project. Mixed-use development with affordable housing units, community green spaces, accessible design, environmental sustainability. She showed renderings, beautiful buildings that seemed to grow from the landscape rather than dominate it. Spaces that invited people in rather than intimidated them. She spoke about design philosophy, about creating places that serve communities rather than developers, about architecture that improved lives. Everything she said was exactly what she had described to Trevor 8 years ago in her paint-splattered studio. The dreams he had dismissed as delusional. She had made them real. She had built an empire on those dreams. The executives listened with rapt attention. They asked questions. She answered with expertise and precision. Douglas beamed with pride. By the end of the presentation, it was clear. Paige Winters was not just talented. She was visionary. The presentation ended to enthusiastic applause. Douglas stood. "Thank you, Paige. That was exceptional. I think I speak for everyone when I say we are honored to work with you on this project." Paige smiled, packed up her laptop. "Thank you, Mr. Carver. I look forward to our collaboration. Now, if you will excuse me, I need to check on my son. We can discuss logistics tomorrow." She left the room. The moment she was gone, the executives exploded into conversation. Everyone talking at once about the presentation, about the revelation, about Trevor. Trevor stood quietly. He walked toward the hallway that led to the guest rooms. No one stopped him. No one said goodnight. He was already a ghost. His room was on the second floor. Spacious. Luxury furnishings. A king-size bed. A stone fireplace. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the mountains. Under any other circumstances, Trevor would have felt proud to be here. This was success. This was achievement. Tonight, it felt like a prison. He lay on the bed fully clothed, stared at the exposed timber beams crossing the ceiling. Paige's words echoed in his mind. Pregnant, alone, lived in her car, 4 babies, women's shelter, 3 jobs. He had done that to her. He had left her, blocked her number, made himself unreachable, because he was embarrassed, because his colleagues asked why he was dating a waitress, because his father's voice in his head told him she was not good enough. Trevor thought about his childhood, growing up in suburban Connecticut. His father, Bernard, a corporate attorney. His mother, Diane, a physician. Both successful, both cold, both measuring worth in titles and income. When Trevor was 12, he brought home a report card with 1 B among straight A's. Bernard looked at it and said, "B's are for people who settle. Are you someone who settles, Trevor?" When Trevor was 16, he started dating a girl from school. Her parents were teachers. Bernard pulled Trevor aside. "You are destined for more than this. Partners are investments. Choose wisely." Trevor had internalized every word. He built himself in his father's image. Successful, ambitious, cold. He learned to measure people by their jobs, their incomes, their usefulness. When he met Paige at a gallery opening 7 years ago, something different happened. She made him laugh. She asked him questions no one else asked. Not about his job or his car. About his dreams, his fears. What made him feel alive? They dated for 6 months. Trevor was happy, genuinely happy. But then the whispers started. His colleagues asking why he was dating a waitress. His father asking when Trevor was going to get serious and find a real partner. Someone appropriate. The shame crept in. Slowly at first. Then, overwhelming. He started making excuses when Paige invited him to events. Started changing the subject when clients asked about his girlfriend. Started seeing her as a liability instead of a person. So he ended it. Cruelly. Definitively. And then he blocked her number and moved because he could not handle confrontation. He could not handle the possibility that she might make him feel guilty, might make him question his choice. He was a coward. Now, 8 years later, his cowardice had manifested. 4 sons he never knew. A woman he destroyed who became more successful than he could imagine. A career about to implode. Trevor did not sleep. He watched the sky lighten through the windows, watched the sun rise over the mountain peaks. At 6:45 he got up, splashed water on his face, put on fresh clothes, walked downstairs to Douglas's suite. He knocked at 6:55. Douglas opened the door immediately. He was already dressed. Pressed slacks, button-down shirt, reading glasses perched on his nose. He looked at Trevor without warmth. "You are early," Douglas said. "Come in." The suite was twice the size of Trevor's room. A full sitting area, a private balcony, a fireplace. Douglas poured 2 cups of black coffee, handed one to Trevor. They sat in chairs facing the fireplace. "I have been with this firm for 32 years, Douglas began. His voice was measured, calm, but hard. "I have seen brilliant people sabotage themselves in countless ways. Arrogance, laziness, dishonesty. But what you displayed last night represents something worse. Cruelty rooted in insecurity." Trevor stared at his coffee. He could not look Douglas in the eye. "Paige Winters is one of the most talented architects of her generation," Douglas continued. "When I met her 6 years ago at a design symposium, she was already making waves. Her community-integrated designs were revolutionary. I watched her career trajectory. Every award, every successful project, every boundary she pushed. Do you know why she is exceptional, Trevor?" Trevor shook his head. "Because she creates spaces that serve people, not egos. Her work has soul. She understands that buildings shape lives, that architecture can heal or harm communities. She approaches every project with empathy and vision." Douglas leaned forward. "And she did all of this while raising your 4 sons alone. After you abandoned her." "I did not know," Trevor whispered. "I did not know she was pregnant. Because you made yourself unknowable." Douglas's voice cut like a blade. "You vanished like a coward. You blocked her number. You moved. You made it impossible for her to reach you. Because you were embarrassed. Because you cared more about what other people thought than about basic human decency." Trevor's eyes burned. I know I was wrong. Here is what is going to happen." Douglas set down his coffee cup. "You will not work on the Riverside project. I am reassigning you to the Millbrook account. Small residential development, minimal client interaction. Consider it a probationary period." Trevor felt his stomach drop. The Riverside project was his ticket to partnership. Millbrook was entry-level work. Additionally, you will enter mandatory leadership counseling. Our HR director will provide details. You will attend weekly sessions for a minimum of 6 months. Douglas's eyes were steel. "And if I see any indication that you have harassed, contacted, or spoken about Paige Winters in any unprofessional capacity, you are terminated immediately. Am I clear?" "Yes, sir," Trevor managed. Douglas leaned back in his chair. "One more thing. That boy, Owen, he is your son. I do not know what you plan to do about that, but I suggest you think carefully about what kind of man you want to be." Trevor looked up. "What do you mean?" "Your father raised you to value the wrong things, Trevor," Douglas said. His voice softened slightly. "I know Bernard Lawson. I have worked with him on contracts. He's a brilliant attorney and a terrible human being. He taught you that people are investments, that worth is measured in dollars and titles. He was wrong, and you can choose differently." The words hit Trevor like a physical blow. Douglas had articulated something Trevor had never admitted to himself. "Paige does not want anything from you," Douglas continued. "She has made that abundantly clear. But if you have any decency, any capacity for growth, you will figure out how to become someone worthy of that child's knowledge, not his love. You have not earned that. Just his knowledge that his father tried to be better." Douglas stood. The meeting was over. Trevor stood as well. 7 a.m., Monday, Douglas said. "HR office. Do not be late." Trevor walked out of the suite. The hallway was empty. Most executives were still asleep or having breakfast in their rooms. Trevor walked slowly back to his own room. The lodge felt different now. The luxury felt hollow. The success felt empty. He spent the rest of the day avoiding everyone. He attended the required sessions, sat in the back, did not speak. During lunch, he ate alone on his balcony. During the evening networking event, he stayed in his room. On the second day of the retreat, he saw Paige again. She was presenting another aspect of the Riverside project, Detailed plans for the community garden spaces. She spoke with passion and expertise. The executives hung on every word. Douglas sat in the front row, nodding approvingly. Trevor watched from the doorway. He could not bring himself to enter the room. He just watched Paige command the space, confident, brilliant, everything he had told her she could never be. During a break, he saw her with Owen. They walked the lodge grounds together. The boy pointed at things: birds, trees, architectural details of the lodge itself. Paige listened to every word, answered every question. Their bond was evident, beautiful, complete without Trevor. 7 years of moments he had missed. First steps, first words, first day of school, first lost tooth, birthdays, Christmases, bedtime stories, all of it gone, irretrievable. Trevor felt grief crush his chest, not for himself, for what Owen had lost, a father, for what Paige had endured. Alone, struggling, surviving, thriving despite Trevor's cruelty. On the final evening of the retreat, Trevor found Paige alone on the lodge's terrace. She was reviewing documents under the outdoor heaters. The sun had set. Stars filled the sky. Trevor approached slowly. "May I speak with you?" His voice was quiet, tentative. Paige looked up. Her expression was unreadable. "Make it brief. Owen will be back from the game room soon." Trevor sat across from her, kept respectful distance. "Thank you for letting me speak." Paige said nothing, just waited. "I do not expect forgiveness," Trevor began. His voice shook slightly. "I do not expect anything. I just need you to know that I am sorry. Not because I got caught, not because you are successful, but because I was cruel to someone who deserved only kindness." Paige's expression did not change. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because it is true." Trevor met her eyes. "And because Owen deserves better than a father who does not exist. I do not know how to fix what I destroyed. I do not know if it can be fixed. But I need to try." "For Owen?" Paige asked. Her voice was sharp. "Or for you?" The question was a knife. Trevor forced himself to answer honestly. "Right now? Both. I am not selfless enough to claim this is purely for him. But I want to become someone who could be." Paige studied him for a long moment. "Do you know what the hardest part was? Not the poverty, not the fear, not living in my car, or staying in a shelter, or working 3 jobs. Trevor waited. "The hardest part was explaining to a 4-year-old why he did not have a daddy when all his friends did." Paige's voice cracked slightly, just slightly, watching his face when he asked if his father did not love him. Trevor's eyes filled with tears. He did not try to hide them. "I told Owen that some people are not ready to be parents," Paige continued, "that it was not his fault, that he was loved and wanted, even if not by everyone. He accepted that because children are resilient, but he should not have had to be." "I know," Trevor whispered. "I built a good life for us," Paige said. Her voice steadied. "Owen is happy, secure, surrounded by people who love him. My parents moved to Chicago to help. My sister is his godmother. He has stability. If you enter his life now, you could disrupt that. You could hurt him. So I need to know, Trevor, are you committed to this? Or will you disappear again when it gets difficult?" Trevor looked at her. Really looked. This woman had survived everything he threw at her, had turned pain into power, had built an empire while raising 4 sons alone. She was asking him a question he did not know if he could answer honestly. "I cannot promise I will be good at it," Trevor said slowly. "I will probably make mistakes, but I will not disappear. If you give me a chance to know him, I will show up. However that looks, whatever boundaries you set, I will respect them." Paige was quiet for a long time. The outdoor heaters hummed. Stars wheeled overhead. "I need to think about it," she finally said. "This is not a decision I will make lightly. I understand." A voice called from inside. "Mom." Paige stood, gathered her documents. Before she left, she turned back to Trevor. "For what it is worth," she said softly, "the man I loved 8 years ago was capable of kindness." He laughed easily. He asked thoughtful questions. He made me feel seen. That man got buried under ambition and his father's expectations. If that man still exists somewhere inside you, maybe there is hope. But you will have to excavate him yourself. I cannot do it for you." She walked away, left Trevor alone on the terrace, alone with the weight of possibility and judgment. Trevor drove home from Cedar Peak the next morning. The retreat ended. Executives packed their cars and left. No one said goodbye to Trevor. He was alone in his car for the 4-hour drive back to Chicago. Alone with his thoughts, he thought about Paige's words. "The man I loved, that man got buried." Trevor barely remembered that version of himself. The version that laughed easily, that asked questions, that cared about something other than status and success. When had he lost that person? Probably slowly, year by year, absorbing his father's poison, letting Bernard's voice drown out his own. Trevor arrived at his apartment on Monday evening. The place felt different. The expensive furniture, the view, the carefully curated success, all of it felt empty, meaningless. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m., Trevor sat in the HR office at Ashton and Carver. Melissa Green, the HR director, reviewed his file. "You have been assigned to mandatory leadership counseling," she said. Her tone was professional but cool. "Dr. Raymond Ochoa. He specializes in executive coaching and behavioral modification. You will meet with him weekly, Tuesdays at 6 p.m., for a minimum of 6 months. She handed Trevor a card with Dr. Ochoa's information. "Additionally, you have been reassigned to the Millbrook project." Melissa continued. "Residential development. You will report to Sarah Chen. She is the project lead. Your role will be junior consultant, research and data analysis primarily." Junior consultant. Trevor had not held that title in 5 years. "This is a probationary period, Trevor," Melissa said. She looked at him directly. "Mr. Carver is giving you an opportunity to demonstrate growth. I suggest you take it seriously." "I will," Trevor said. That evening, Trevor called Dr. Ochoa's office, scheduled his first appointment for the following Tuesday. Then he went home, sat on his expensive couch in his expensive apartment, looked at his expensive view. He thought about Owen, a 7-year-old boy who loved astronomy, who asked profound questions, who had Trevor's face, but none of Trevor's cruelty. Not yet. Trevor pulled out his laptop, opened a blank document, started writing. "Dear Paige." He stopped, deleted it, started again. "Paige, I need to explain." Deleted again. He tried for an hour. Nothing felt right. Nothing felt honest enough. Finally, he closed the laptop. He would try again tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Every evening, Trevor sat at his laptop, tried to write the letter Paige deserved. Each attempt felt inadequate. How do you explain years of cruelty in words? How do you articulate the poison you internalized from childhood? Friday evening, Trevor's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. "Is this Trevor Lawson?" A man's voice asked. "Yes, this is James Parker. I am Paige Winters' attorney." Trevor's heart began to race. "Yes. Hello. Miss Winters has asked me to contact you regarding potential supervised visitation with your son Owen." Trevor could barely breathe. "Yes, please. I would like that very much. There are conditions," James said. His voice was formal, legal. "First, you must take a DNA test to confirm paternity. Second, you must complete a CO parenting class. Third, you must maintain stable employment. Fourth, you must submit a personal letter to Miss Winters explaining your past behavior and demonstrating accountability. If you complete these 4 conditions, Miss Winters will consider allowing supervised visits." "I will do all of it," Trevor said immediately. "Whatever she needs, I will do it." "You have 30 days, James said. "I am emailing you information for DNA testing facilities and co-parenting classes. The letter should be submitted to my office. If you fail to complete any condition, this offer is withdrawn permanently. Do you understand?" "Yes, I understand. Thank you." James hung up. Trevor stared at his phone. A chance. She was giving him a chance. The email arrived minutes later. DNA testing locations, CO parenting class schedules, instructions for the letter. Trevor read everything twice. Then he began making appointments. Saturday morning, Trevor drove to a medical testing facility in Evanston. A nurse swabbed the inside of his cheek, sealed it in a tube. Results in 7 days. They would send a copy to James Parker. Sunday afternoon. Trevor registered for a CO parenting class at the Evanston Community Center. 12-week program. Every Saturday morning. $200. He paid immediately. Now the hardest part. The letter. Trevor sat at his kitchen table every evening that week. Tried to write. Most attempts ended in the trash. He was not avoiding it. He was trying to get it right. Trying to be completely honest without making excuses. Tuesday evening. First therapy session with Dr. Raymond Ochoa. Dr. Ochoa's office was in a brownstone in Lincoln Park. Warm. Comfortable. Bookshelves lining the walls. 2 armchairs facing each other. Dr. Ochoa was in his 50s. Salt and pepper hair. Kind eyes. Calm presence. "Tell me why you are here, Trevor," he said. Trevor took a breath. "I destroyed a relationship 8 years ago. I just found out the woman I left was pregnant. With quadruplets. I did not know because I blocked her number and disappeared. Now she is successful. More successful than me. And I have 4 sons I never knew existed." Dr. Ochoa listened without interrupting. "She is giving me a chance to meet them." Trevor continued, "But I have to complete conditions. One of them is this. Counseling. I do not know if I can be the father they deserve. I do not know if I can change. But I want to try." "Why did you leave her?" Dr. Ochoa asked. Trevor looked at his hands. "Because I was embarrassed. She was a waitress and an artist. My colleagues asked why I was dating someone like that. My father said I needed someone on my level. I started believing them. Started seeing her as a liability." "What did your father teach you about relationships?" Trevor felt something crack open in his chest. That people are investments. That your partner reflects your status. That you should choose based on what they can do for your career. Do you still believe that? Trevor thought about Paige, about everything she had achieved. "No, I do not." Over the next hour, Dr. Ochoa guided Trevor through his childhood. His father's coldness. His mother's silence. The constant pressure to achieve. The message that worth equals income. "You absorbed your father's value system," Dr. Ochoa said, "and you weaponized it against someone who represented everything Bernard taught you to fear. Vulnerability, creativity, economic uncertainty. Paige became a symbol of the poverty you were terrified of, so you rejected her before she could contaminate your trajectory." "That is sick," Trevor muttered. "That is honest," Dr. Ochoa corrected. "The question is, what will you do with that honesty?" Trevor left the session feeling raw, exposed, but somehow lighter. The following Saturday, first co-parenting class, Evanston Community Center. Trevor arrived at 8:55. The class met in a small conference room. 12 people sat in a circle of folding chairs, mostly women, a few men. Everyone looked tired. "Good morning." A woman stood at the front. "I am Dr. Paula Henderson. Welcome to co-parenting class." They went around the circle. Introductions, divorced parents, custody battles, communication problems. Then Trevor's turn. "I am Trevor," he said. "I have quadruplet sons. They are 7 years old. I just found out about them 3 weeks ago. I was not there for the first 7 years of their lives. I am taking this class so I can meet them." A woman across the circle frowned. "You did not know you had kids?" "No," Trevor said. "Why not?" "I left their mother before I knew she was pregnant. I blocked her number. She could not tell me." The woman's frown deepened. "Did you love her?" Trevor felt everyone staring. "I did, but I was too afraid to choose her over my career." Dr. Henderson spoke gently. "Thank you for your honesty, Trevor. This class is a safe space. We are all here to learn and do better for our children." The class lasted 2 hours. Dr. Henderson talked about communication, about putting children first, about managing conflict. Trevor took notes, wrote down everything. After class, Dr. Henderson stopped him. "Trevor, this is going to be hard for you. The other parents will judge you. You need to be ready for that. I understand. You also need to take full responsibility. You said you did not know about your sons, but you left their mother. You blocked her number. That is on you." Trevor felt his face burn. "I know. Good. Because if you want to be a father, you need to own your mistakes. No excuses." "I will." Dr. Henderson nodded. "See you next Saturday." Trevor left the class feeling humbled. Judged. Deservedly so. That week, he threw himself into work. The Millbrook Project. Small residential development. Unglamorous. But Trevor worked harder than he ever had. He researched zoning laws, studied environmental impact reports, created detailed data analyses. Sarah Chen, the project lead, noticed. "This is good work, Trevor," she said Thursday afternoon. "Very thorough. Thank you. Keep it up." Trevor continued therapy with Dr. Ochoa, continued co-parenting classes, continued trying to write the letter to Paige. 3 weeks after Cedar Peak, DNA results arrived. Trevor opened the envelope with shaking hands. DNA test results. Alleged father, Trevor Daniel Lawson. Children, Owen Winters, Elliot Winters, Mason Winters, and Cameron Winters. Conclusion. Trevor Daniel Lawson cannot be excluded as the biological father. Probability of paternity, 99.99%. 4 sons. Officially, legally, biologically his. Trevor made 3 copies, mailed 1 to James Parker, kept 2 for himself. 4 weeks after Cedar Peak, Trevor finally completed the letter. He had written and rewritten it dozens of times. Finally, it felt honest, raw, true. The letter sat on Trevor's kitchen table for 3 days before he mailed it. He kept reading it, revising sentences, then putting it back exactly as it was, because every word was true, and truth could not be edited into something more comfortable. Finally, on a Thursday morning, Trevor printed the letter on clean white paper, folded it carefully, placed it in an envelope, addressed it to James Parker's law office, and before he could second-guess himself again, he drove to the post office and handed it to the clerk. The letter was gone. Paige would read it soon. She would know everything. Trevor drove to work feeling strange, exposed, vulnerable, but also lighter somehow, like he had been carrying a weight for 8 years and finally set it down. The letter had been 4 pages, single-spaced, every word carefully chosen. It began, "Paige, I need to explain why I treated you the way I did. Not to make excuses, just to tell the truth." Then Trevor wrote about his childhood. Growing up in suburban Connecticut, his father, Bernard, corporate attorney, cold, demanding, measuring worth in titles and income. His mother, Diane, physician, brilliant but emotionally distant, both successful, both teaching Trevor that success was the only thing that mattered. He wrote about being 7 years old, his father leaving for business trips that lasted weeks, coming home and asking Trevor about his grades before asking how he was. The message clear. Performance mattered. People did not. He wrote about being 12, bringing home a report card with one B. Bernard looking at it with disgust. B's are for people who settle. Are you someone who settles, Trevor? He wrote about being 16, dating a girl whose parents were teachers. Bernard pulling him aside. You are destined for more than this. Partners are investments. Choose wisely. Trevor wrote, I internalized every word. I built myself in my father's image. Successful, ambitious, cold. I learned to measure people by their jobs, their incomes, their usefulness to my career. I became exactly what Bernard wanted, and I lost myself in the process. He wrote about meeting Paige, the gallery opening, her smile, her passion, the way she talked about art like it was oxygen, the way she asked him questions no one else asked, not about his job or his apartment, but about his dreams, his fears, what made him feel alive. He wrote, when we dated, I was happy, genuinely happy for the first time since childhood. You made me laugh. You made me think. You made me feel like I mattered as a person, not as a resume. I loved that. I loved you. But then the shame started. My colleagues asking why I was dating a waitress. My father asking when I was going to get serious and find a real partner, someone appropriate, someone who could advance my career. The voice in my head grew louder. The voice that said you were not good enough, that you were holding me back, that I would end up poor and unsuccessful if I stayed with you. Trevor wrote, I was terrified of poverty. My parents measured worth in money. I absorbed that poison. I started seeing you as a symbol of everything I feared. Your tiny apartment, your paint-stained clothes, your dreams that did not generate income. I convinced myself you were the problem, when the truth was, I was the problem. I was too weak to choose you over my father's approval. too cowardly to define success for myself. So I ended our relationship in the cruelest way possible. I told you that you were not good enough, that you were holding me back. I blocked your number because I could not handle confrontation. I moved without leaving a forwarding address because I was a coward who ran from consequences. He wrote, I did not know you were pregnant, but even if I had known, I am not sure I would have stayed. That is the truth I have to face. I was so consumed by fear and ambition that I might have abandoned you and our children anyway. That makes it worse, not better. Trevor continued, you survived everything I threw at you. You lived in your car. You stayed in a shelter. You worked 3 jobs while raising 4 babies alone. You built a multi-million-dollar company from nothing. You proved every single thing I said about you was wrong. You are the strongest, most capable person I have ever known, and I am ashamed that I ever made you doubt that. He wrote about Owen. I saw him at Cedar Peak Lodge. I saw my face, my eyes. My son, I have missed 7 years. First steps, first words, first day of school, birthdays, Christmases, all of it gone. I cannot get that time back. I cannot undo the damage, but I can tell you that I am sorry. And I can try to become someone worthy of knowing him, not worthy of his love. I have not earned that, just worthy of his knowledge that his father tried to be better. Trevor wrote, I am in therapy, working with Dr. Raymond Ochoa, unpacking my father's value system, learning to measure worth differently, learning that people are not investments, that success is not defined by income, that the best thing I ever had was you, and I was too blind to see it. I am taking co-parenting classes, learning how to communicate, how to put children first, how to manage conflict, how to be present. I am working on myself, not because I expect forgiveness, I do not deserve it, but because Owen and his brothers deserve better than a father who does not exist. The letter ended. I cannot change the past. I cannot give back the years I missed, but I can tell you the truth. I destroyed something beautiful because I was ashamed of where I came from, because I was afraid of being poor again, because I thought leaving you would make me successful. Instead, it made me cruel. I am sorry, Paige, for everything, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to be the father our sons deserve. Trevor, that was the letter, 4 pages of truth, unvarnished, uncomfortable, honest. Now it was in Paige's hands. Trevor threw himself into work. The Millbrook project consumed his days. He worked longer hours than anyone else. Arrived early, left late. Sarah Chen noticed. Trevor, you do not have to work weekends, she said Friday afternoon. This is not that kind of project. I want to, Trevor said. I want to get it right. He continued therapy every Tuesday evening. Dr. Ochoa pushed him, made him examine every assumption, every learned behavior, every toxic pattern. You are grieving, Dr. Ochoa said during their 5th session. Not for what you lost, for who you could have been if you had chosen differently. Trevor felt tears burn his eyes. Yes, that grief is important. Dr. Ochoa leaned forward. Sit with it. Do not run from it. It will teach you what matters. Trevor attended Keo parenting class every Saturday morning. Dr. Henderson taught about routines, about consistency, about how children need parents who keep promises. Trevor filled an entire notebook. After the 6th class, a woman named Michelle approached him. She had 2 kids, been divorced for 3 years. I judged you when you first shared your story, she said quietly. I thought you were terrible for abandoning your kids. I was terrible, Trevor said, but you keep showing up. Michelle continued, every week, taking notes, asking questions. My ex-husband could not even bother to come to 1 class. You are trying. That matters. Trevor nodded. Thank you. 3 weeks after he mailed the letter, Trevor received an email. The subject line read, regarding supervised visitation. Trevor's hands shook as he opened it. Mr. Lawson, I have received your letter, DNA results, and proof of enrollment in Keo parenting classes. Miss Winters has reviewed all materials. She is willing to allow supervised visits with Owen under the following conditions. Visits will occur once per month for 2 hours. Location will be neutral and public. Miss Winters will be present at all times. If Owen appears distressed or uncomfortable, the visit ends immediately. If you miss a scheduled visit without emergency cause, This arrangement terminates permanently. Your first visit is scheduled for Saturday, November 10th at 2 p.m. Location is the Chicago Children's Museum. Please confirm receipt of this email. James Parker, attorney at law. Trevor read the email 5 times. Then he typed his response. I confirm. Thank you. I will be there. He had 2 weeks to prepare. 2 weeks to figure out how to meet his son. Trevor went to a bookstore, stood in the children's section for an hour. He had no idea what 7-year-olds liked. He asked a store employee for help. My son loves astronomy, Trevor said, and building things. What would you recommend? The employee showed him books about space, about planets and stars. Trevor bought 3. Then he bought a small model rocket kit. Nothing expensive, just something they could maybe build together someday. Trevor also bought new clothes, jeans, casual shirts. He realized all his clothes were either business suits or expensive casual wear that screamed trying too hard. He needed to look like a regular dad, approachable, safe. The night before the visit, Trevor could not sleep. He lay in bed staring at the ceiling. What if Owen hated him? What if the boy looked at him and saw a stranger? What if Trevor said the wrong thing and ruined everything? At 7 a.m., Trevor got up, showered, dressed in jeans and a flannel shirt. Too casual. He changed into khakis and a button-down. Too formal. Back to jeans and a simple blue sweater. Better. He left his apartment at noon, even though the museum was only 30 minutes away. He drove slowly, parked, sat in his car for 20 minutes. At 1:55, he walked to the museum entrance. Paige was already there. She stood near the front doors wearing jeans and a cream sweater. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked relaxed. Beautiful. Beside her stood Owen. The boy wore a dinosaur t-shirt and sneakers. His hair was cut short. He held Paige's hand and looked around with wide, curious eyes. When he saw Trevor approaching, he moved slightly behind his mother. Trevor's heart broke and soared at the same time. His son, right there, real, alive. Paige watched Trevor carefully. Her expression was neutral, guarded. Hello, Paige, Trevor said quietly. Hello, Trevor. She looked down at Owen. Sweetheart, this is Trevor. He's an old friend of mine. He would like to spend some time with us today. Is that okay? Owen looked up at Trevor, studied his face. Okay. They walked into the museum together. Paige paid for the tickets before Trevor could offer. They entered the main hall. Exhibits everywhere. Interactive displays. Children running and laughing. The noise was overwhelming. But Owen's face lit up. Can we go to the space exhibit? Owen asked his mother. Paige looked at Trevor. Is that all right with you? Absolutely, Trevor said. They walked through the museum. Owen led the way. Paige stayed close to him. Trevor walked slightly behind, giving space, not crowding. The space exhibit had a planetarium, models of planets, interactive displays about gravity and orbits. Owen ran to a display about the moon. He pressed buttons, read the information panels. His face was pure concentration. Trevor stood beside him. Do you like space? Owen nodded without looking away from the display. I want to be an astronaut when I grow up. That is amazing. What is your favorite planet? Saturn. Because of the rings. Owen finally looked at Trevor. What is your favorite? Trevor had no idea. He had never thought about it. Mars. Because it is red, I guess. Owen smiled. Mars is cool too. Did you know Mars has the biggest volcano in the solar system? I did not know that. It is called Olympus Mons. It is 3 times taller than Mount Everest. Wow, Trevor said. You know a lot about space. I read books, Owen said. He looked at Paige. Mom gets me books from the library. Paige smiled. You read them 3 times each. They spent an hour in the space exhibit. Owen explained everything he knew. About constellations, about the phases of the moon, about how rockets work. Trevor listened, asked questions, resisted every impulse to perform or impress. He just showed up. After the space exhibit, they went to the building zone. Large foam blocks, construction equipment. Owen built a tall tower. It collapsed. He rebuilt it. Trevor helped hold blocks in place. Owen told him exactly where to put them. You have to make the base wider, Owen explained seriously, or it falls down. It is about balance. You are right, Trevor said. You are really good at this. Mom says I think like an engineer. Your mom is right. They took a break at the museum cafe. Paige bought Owen apple juice and a muffin. Trevor offered to pay. Paige declined politely but firmly. As Owen ate his muffin, he looked at Trevor. Do you have kids? Trevor glanced at Paige. She gave a tiny nod. I do, Trevor said carefully. 4 boys, actually. Owen's eyes widened. 4? Like quadruplets? Yes, exactly like that. Wow, that is a lot of kids. Do they like space too? Trevor had no idea. He realized how absurd this conversation was. I am not sure. I do not know them very well yet. Why not? Trevor took a breath. Because I made mistakes. I was not there when they were born, but I am trying to get to know them now. Owen processed this. Then he said, It is good to fix mistakes. Yes, Trevor's voice caught. It is. The 2 hours passed quickly, too quickly. At 4 p.m., Paige checked her watch. Owen, we need to start heading home. Already? Owen looked disappointed. We can come back another time, Paige said. She looked at Trevor. If everyone had a good time, I had a good time, Owen said. He looked at Trevor. Did you? I had a great time, Trevor said honestly. They walked to the parking lot together. Paige's car was a sleek SUV, black, expensive, but practical. Car seats in the back. Owen climbed into his booster seat. Paige buckled him in. Before she closed the door, Owen leaned forward. Bye, Trevor. Thank you for coming. Bye, Owen. Thank you for teaching me about space. The door closed. Paige walked around to the driver's side. She paused, looked at Trevor. That went well, she said quietly. He is amazing, Trevor said. You have done an incredible job with him. Thank you. Paige's expression softened slightly. I will have James schedule another visit. Same terms. 1 month from now. I will be there, Trevor said. Thank you, Paige, for this chance. She nodded, got in her car, drove away. Trevor stood in the parking lot for 10 minutes. Just stood there, breathing, processing. He had met his son, his actual son, and it was better and harder and more wonderful than he could have imagined. Now I know some of you watching this are feeling something right now. You are feeling that pull, that hope that people can actually change. If that is you, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me. Have you ever had to rebuild trust with someone you hurt? How did it go? I want to hear your stories. And make sure you are subscribed to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because this story is about to show you what real transformation looks like. Not the Hollywood version, the hard, slow, everyday version. Now, let's continue. Trevor continued his routine. Work, therapy, CO parenting class. Every Saturday morning at Evanston Community Center. Every Tuesday evening at Dr. Ochoa's office. Every weekday at the Millbrook Project. The project was taking shape. Small residential development. 24 units. Trevor had suggested incorporating some of Paige's principles. Community input. Sustainable materials. Accessible design. Sarah Chen loved the ideas. This is different thinking, Trevor, she said. Good different. Let's present it to the client. The client approved. The Millbrook project became something Trevor was proud of. Not because it was prestigious, but because it served people. It created homes. Real homes where families would live and grow. 4 weeks after the first visit. Second visit with Owen, this time at Lincoln Park Zoo. Paige and Owen met Trevor at the entrance. Owen seemed less shy this time. He waved when he saw Trevor. Hi, Trevor. Hi, Owen. Ready to see some animals? They walked through the zoo, stopped at every exhibit. Owen had questions about everything. Why do giraffes have long necks? How do penguins stay warm? Why do monkeys have tails? Trevor did not know most of the answers, so he read the information plaques out loud. Owen listened intently. Sometimes he corrected Trevor's pronunciation. Trevor laughed and thanked him. At the elephant exhibit, Owen pressed his face against the glass. An elephant was eating hay. They are so big. Owen whispered. They are the biggest land animal. Trevor said. Actually, Owen said, they are the biggest land animal now, but dinosaurs were bigger. You are absolutely right, Trevor said. I should have been more specific. It is okay, Owen said generously. Not everyone knows about dinosaurs. Paige watched them from a few feet away, a small smile on her face. After the zoo visit, James Parker sent another email. Miss Winters is pleased with how visits are progressing. She is willing to increase frequency to twice per month. Same conditions apply. Twice per month. Trevor would see Owen twice per month. The visits continued. December, the Museum of Science and Industry. January, ice skating at Millennium Park. Owen fell down 6 times. Laughed every time. Trevor fell down twice. Owen found it hilarious. February, the aquarium. March, a children's theater production. April, a park where they flew kites. Each visit, Owen opened up a little more, talked more freely, asked more questions, started to trust. In May, during a visit to Maggie Daly Park, Owen was climbing on the playground equipment. Paige and Trevor stood watching. For the first time, Paige initiated conversation. He asks about you during the week. She said, when are we seeing Trevor? Can Trevor come to my soccer game? Trevor's throat tightened. I would love to go to his soccer game. That would require me trusting you outside of supervised visits. Paige said, we are not there yet. I understand. Trevor said, whenever you are ready, I will keep showing up. Paige looked at him. You have been consistent. I will give you that. It is the least I can do. They were quiet for a moment, watching Owen swing from monkey bars. I read your letter. Paige said finally, about your father, your childhood. I did not know any of that. I never told you. Trevor said, I was too ashamed. My father was different. Paige said, he was a bus driver. My mom was a teacher's aide. We did not have money, but we had love. It never occurred to me that you saw poverty as something shameful. I thought you saw poverty as something to have compassion for. I should have, Trevor said. But I was taught to fear it, to despise it, to avoid anyone who represented it. That must have been lonely. It was. Trevor met her eyes. I am sorry I made you feel like your dreams were worthless. They were never worthless. I was just too broken to see their value. Paige nodded slowly. I forgive you, Trevor. Trevor felt tears spring to his eyes. What? I do not forget what you did, Paige said. I will never forget, but I forgive you. I see you trying. I see you showing up. Owen is starting to care about you. That matters. Thank you, Trevor whispered. Do not make me regret this. I will not. In June, during a visit to the Brookfield Zoo, Owen asked the question Trevor had been dreading and hoping for. They were watching lions. Owen turned to Trevor suddenly. Are you my dad? Trevor's heart stopped. He looked at Paige. She nodded slightly. Trevor knelt down to Owen's eye level. Yes, I am. Owen's face was serious. Where were you before? I made bad choices. Trevor said carefully. I was not ready to be a dad. I left before you were born. I hurt your mom very badly. I am sorry for that. But you are ready now? I am trying to be. I am learning. Your mom is teaching me. Owen looked at Paige. Is that true? Trevor is working very hard to become someone worthy of knowing you. Paige said, we are giving him a chance to show us who he can be. Okay, Owen said. He processed this with the remarkable adaptability of children. Can we see the elephants now? That easily. The truth was spoken. Trevor was dad. After that visit, something shifted. Owen started calling Trevor dad sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. And every time he did, Trevor felt like he had won the lottery. At work, the Millbrook project was completing. The client was thrilled. The units sold quickly. Families moved in. Trevor drove by one Saturday and saw children playing in the community green space he had designed. He sat in his car and cried. Douglas Carver called Trevor to his office in July. Trevor, you have been here 6 years. Douglas said, the last 8 months, you have done good work. Different work. Better work. Thank you, sir. The Millbrook project exceeded expectations. The client wants us to do 3 more developments using the same model. I'm assigning them to you. You will lead. Trevor felt surprise. Really? You earned it. Keep doing what you are doing. Trevor called Dr. Ochoa after the meeting, told him about the promotion. How do you feel? Dr. Ochoa asked. Grateful, Trevor said. But it feels different than success used to feel. Different how? Before, success was about me, proving I was valuable. Now it feels like success is about contribution, about creating something that serves other people. That is growth, Trevor, Dr. Ochoa said. Real growth. In August, Trevor completed his CO parenting classes. 12 weeks. Every Saturday. Dr. Henderson gave him a certificate at the final session. You did excellent work, Trevor, she said. You should be proud. Thank you. This class changed my life. You changed your life, Dr. Henderson corrected. You did the work. That is not easy. Trevor showed the certificate to Paige at their next visit. She read it. Congratulations, she said. Thank you for making me do this. It taught me how to be present, how to listen, how to put Owen first. You are welcome. That evening, after Owen went to bed, Paige called Trevor. It was the first time she had called him directly. Trevor, I have been thinking, she said. I want to expand the visitation arrangement. Every other weekend, Friday evening through Sunday afternoon, and 1 weekday evening per week. If you are agreeable. Trevor's throat tightened with emotion. I would love that. Thank you. This is not for you, Paige clarified. It is for Owen. He asks when he can see you. He wants you at his school events. He is building a relationship with you. I will not limit that unless you give me reason. I will not give you reason, Trevor said. I promise. The new arrangement started in September. Owen stayed at Trevor's apartment every other weekend. Trevor had moved to a 2-bedroom in Rogers Park, closer to Owen's school. 1 bedroom for himself, 1 bedroom for Owen. Trevor set up Owen's room carefully. A twin bed, a bookshelf filled with books about space and dinosaurs, a small desk, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. He wanted Owen to feel at home. The first weekend Owen stayed over, Trevor was terrified. What if Owen got scared? What if Trevor did something wrong? What if the boy wanted to go home? But Owen ran into his room and gasped. This is my room? At your house? Yes. Do you like it? I love it. Owen jumped on the bed. Can I really sleep here? Absolutely. That weekend, Trevor learned what it meant to be a dad. Making breakfast, pancakes that turned out lumpy but Owen ate them anyway. Playing at the park, watching movies on the couch, reading bedtime stories, leaving the bathroom light on because Owen was afraid of complete darkness. Sunday afternoon, when Trevor dropped Owen back at Paige's house, the boy hugged him. Thank you, Dad. I had fun. Me too, buddy. Paige watched from the doorway. When Owen ran inside, she looked at Trevor. He had a good time, she said. So did I. You are doing well, Trevor. Keep it up. The weekday visits were Wednesdays. Trevor picked Owen up from school. They went to dinner, usually pizza or burgers. Then homework at Trevor's apartment. Then Trevor drove Owen home by 8 p.m. Those Wednesdays became Trevor's favorite day of the week. Just him and Owen, talking about school, about friends, about Owen's dreams of becoming an astronaut. Trevor continued therapy, even though it was no longer mandatory. He told Dr. Ochoa he wanted to keep going. This work does not have an end date. Dr. Ochoa said, you will always be learning, growing. That is the point. Trevor also started attending community events, art shows, public installations, cultural festivals, things he once dismissed as frivolous. Now he saw their value, saw how art connected people, how creativity healed communities. He volunteered at a youth center in Rogers Park, teaching basic business skills to teenagers. He expected to be the teacher. Instead, the teenagers taught him about resilience, about creativity born from necessity, about finding joy in small things. In October, Trevor received a phone call. Unknown number, he answered. Trevor, it is your father. Trevor's stomach dropped. Hello, Bernard. Your mother told me you have a son. 4 sons, actually. Quadruplets. Yes. Why did I have to hear this from your mother? Bernard's voice was cold. Why did you not tell me? Because we do not talk, Dad. Whose fault is that? Mine, Trevor said. I stopped calling because every conversation with you makes me feel worthless. Silence on the other end. Bernard continued like Trevor had not spoken. Your mother says the boy's mother kept them from you, that she never told you she was pregnant. That is parental alienation, Trevor. You should pursue full custody. Get a lawyer. Sue her. No, Trevor said firmly. Excuse me? I am not suing Paige. I abandoned her. She did not keep the boys from me. She tried to find me. I made myself unreachable. Everything she did was survival. I am grateful she is giving me any access at all. You are being weak, Bernard snapped. No, Dad. I am being accountable. There is a difference. This woman is manipulating you. She is using your guilt to control you. Paige is giving me a chance I do not deserve, Trevor said. His voice was calm, steady. She could have refused to let me meet Owen. She could have demanded child support for 7 years. She could have destroyed me. Instead, she gave me conditions, reasonable conditions, and I met them. Now I get to be Owen's father. That is not manipulation. That is grace. Bernard scoffed. Grace. You sound like a therapist. I am in therapy, and it is the best decision I ever made. You are throwing your life away. No, Trevor said. I threw my life away 8 years ago when I left Paige. I am rebuilding it now. I am building it on different values. Your values. They are poison, Dad. They made me cruel. They made me alone. I will not pass them to my son. Silence. Then Bernard said coldly, Do not call me again. I was not planning to. Trevor said, Goodbye, Dad. He hung up, stood in his apartment, breathing hard, shaking, but free. He had just severed the poisonous root that had fed his worst impulses for 33 years. Trevor called his mother that evening. Diane answered on the second ring. Mom, Trevor, I heard you talk to your father. I did. I also told him not to contact me again. Diane was quiet. Then she said, Good. What? Good. Your father is brilliant and successful, but he is also cold and cruel. I stayed with him because I did not know how to leave. But you do not have to repeat my mistakes. You can choose differently. I am trying. I heard about your sons, Diane said. I would like to meet them. If that is allowed, I would like that too, Trevor said. I will ask Paige. Paige agreed. In November, Diane flew to Chicago. She met Owen at Trevor's apartment. She was awkward at first, stiff, but Owen's natural curiosity broke through her reserve. Grandma, are you a doctor? Yes. How did you know? Dad said you fix people's hearts. Not exactly. I am a cardiologist. I help people whose hearts are not working right. That is cool. Diane smiled, a real smile. Thank you. That weekend, Diane, Trevor, and Owen went to the planetarium. Diane bought Owen a book about black holes. Owen read it cover to cover that night. You are good with him, Trevor told his mother. He is wonderful. Diane said, You are lucky. I know. As October turned to November, Trevor received an invitation. Paige called him. Owen's 8th birthday is in 2 weeks. We are having a party at my house. He wants you to come. Trevor felt his chest swell. I would love to come. What does he want for his birthday? He has been talking about a telescope to see the moon up close, but they are expensive. I was going to get him one, but if you want to go in on it together, let me get it. Trevor said, Please, let me do this. Okay, Paige said. Thank you. Trevor researched telescopes for 3 days, read reviews, talked to employees at specialty stores, finally bought a beginner telescope that was perfect for an 8-year-old. It cost $400. Trevor did not care. It was worth it. The day of Owen's birthday party, Trevor arrived at Paige's house at 1 p.m. The house was beautiful. Modern design, natural light everywhere, open floor plan. Owen's artwork covered the refrigerator and hallway walls. Children ran through the house. Owen's friends from school. 8 kids total. They played games, ate pizza, laughed, and shouted. Paige moved through the chaos with calm efficiency, organizing activities, serving food, answering questions. Trevor helped where he could, cleaning up spills, handing out party favors. At one point, Paige stopped beside him in the kitchen. "Thank you for helping. Of course, you are good at this. Being present, being helpful without taking over. I am learning from the best," Trevor said. When it was time for presents, Owen sat in the living room surrounded by wrapped gifts. He opened them one by one. Lego sets, books, art supplies. He thanked each person sincerely. Then Trevor brought out the telescope. It was too big to wrap. He had tied a bow around it. Owen's eyes went wide. "A telescope? A real one?" "A real one," Trevor said. "For watching the moon." Owen jumped up. He ran to Trevor and hugged him. "Thank you, Dad. Thank you, thank you, thank you." Trevor hugged him back, felt tears burn his eyes. "You are welcome, buddy." The party continued. After the guests left, Owen set up the telescope in his room. Even though it was still daylight, he peered through it, adjusted the focus, made plans for what he would look at tonight. Trevor helped Paige clean up. They worked in comfortable silence, throwing away paper plates, wiping down tables. "You made his day," Paige said quietly. "He made mine." After the cleanup, Paige pulled Trevor aside. "Can we talk for a minute?" "Of course." They sat at the kitchen table. Paige folded her hands, looked at Trevor directly. "You have been consistent for 8 months." She said, "You have not missed a visit. You have been patient with Owen. You have respected my boundaries. I want to expand the custody arrangement." Trevor's heart raced. "Okay, every other week. Full week, Monday through Sunday, alternating with me. And you can come to all his school events, soccer games, parent-teacher conferences, everything." Trevor felt his throat tighten. "Thank you, Paige. This is not for you," she said firmly. "It is for Owen. He loves you. He wants you in his life. I will not limit that anymore. I will not let him down. I know. That is why I am doing this." That night, Owen called Trevor before bed. "I love my telescope. Can you come over tomorrow to help me use it? I will be there." Trevor said. The new custody arrangement started in December. Owen spent 1 week with Paige, 1 week with Trevor, back and forth. Trevor learned the full reality of parenting. Morning routines, packing lunches, homework battles, bedtime negotiations. It was exhausting. It was wonderful. Trevor went to Owen's soccer games, stood on the sideline with other parents, cheered when Owen's team scored, consoled Owen when they lost, started volunteering as assistant coach. He attended parent-teacher conferences with Paige. They sat side by side, listened to the teacher describe Owen's progress, his strengths in math and science, his struggles with reading comprehension. They developed a plan together, reading practice every night, 20 minutes. They were co-parenting, really co-parenting. In January, Trevor was promoted again at work, director level, leading a team of 6 consultants. Salary increased to $95,000 per year. Douglas called him into his office to deliver the news personally. "You have come a long way, Trevor. I am proud of you." "Thank you, sir, for giving me a second chance." "You gave yourself a second chance," Douglas said. "You did the work." Trevor started speaking at industry conferences, sharing his story, edited, but honest. He talked about measuring success differently, about choosing people over profit, about accountability. Young professionals approached him after his talks, asked questions, thanked him for his honesty. Trevor realized he had something to offer, not expertise, but experience. The experience of failure and slow redemption. In March, Owen's soccer team made it to the championship game. They had worked hard all season. Owen had improved dramatically. Trevor had been coaching him, practicing in the park on weekends. The morning of the championship, Trevor picked up Owen early. They went to breakfast, talked strategy. "What if we lose?" Owen asked. "Then we lose," Trevor said. "But we will have played our best. That is what matters." "But I want to win." "Me too. But wanting to win and being devastated by losing are different things. You can want something and still be okay if it does not happen." Owen thought about this. Okay, the championship game was at a field on the north side. Parents filled the sidelines. Paige arrived with Owen's brothers. "Yes, All 4 boys. Trevor had met them briefly. Elliot, Mason, Cameron. They were shy around him, curious but cautious. The game started. Owen played midfield. He ran hard, passed well, communicated with teammates. Trevor coached from the sideline, encouraging, strategic. The other team scored first. Trevor's team stayed calm, kept playing. With 5 minutes left, Owen got the ball. He dribbled past 2 defenders, 30 feet from the goal. Trevor yelled, "Shoot." Owen kicked hard. The ball flew. The goalkeeper jumped. His fingers grazed it. Not enough. The ball went in. Goal. The sideline erupted. Parents cheering. Kids jumping. Paige clapping. The score was tied. 2 minutes later, Owen got the ball again. This time he passed to a teammate. The teammate shot. Goal. Trevor's team was ahead. The referee blew the final whistle. Championship. The boys ran to Trevor, jumped on him, hugged him. Owen had tears of joy. "We won, coach. We won." "You won," Trevor said. "I am so proud of you." After the game, Paige approached Trevor. The boys ran ahead to the parking lot. "Where should we celebrate?" Paige asked. Trevor had an idea. "I know a place." He led them south through Chicago. The neighborhoods changed. They drove to the south side, pulled up in front of a small building. The sign said, "Sam's Diner." Paige looked surprised. "Here? I thought it would be fitting," Trevor said. They walked inside. The diner looked exactly the same as it had 9 years ago. Vinyl booths, laminate tables, the smell of coffee and burgers. Behind the counter stood an older man. White hair, kind eyes. Sam looked up. His face broke into a huge smile. "Paige Williams. I do not believe it." Paige smiled. "Hi, Sam." Sam came around the counter, hugged her. "Look at you. You did it. You really did it." "I did." Paige gestured to the boys. "Sam, these are my sons. Owen, Elliot, Mason, Cameron." Sam looked at the boys. "4 of them? All yours?" "All mine," Paige said proudly. Sam looked at Trevor. "And who is this?" "This is Trevor," Paige said. "Their father." Sam shook Trevor's hand. "Nice to meet you." "You too." They sat in a large booth. The boys looked at menus, ordered burgers and milkshakes. Sam brought the food himself, sat down for a moment. "Paige, I remember when you worked here," Sam said. "You were the best waitress I ever had. Always on time, always kind to customers. I was sad when you left." "I had to," Paige said. "I had 4 babies and a dream, and you made that dream happen." Sam said, "I see your company on the news. Williams Design Collective. I am proud of you, kid." "Thank you, Sam. This place gave me a start. I will never forget that." Sam patted her hand, then stood up. "Enjoy your meal." The family ate together. The boys replayed every moment of the championship game. Trevor listened, smiled, felt overwhelming gratitude. He looked around the diner, remembered the first time he came here, 9 years ago, seeing Paige in her waitress uniform, thinking she was beneath him. How wrong he had been. He looked at Paige now. Jeans, simple shirt, relaxed, happy. She had built a $43 million company, raised 4 incredible sons, given Trevor a chance he did not deserve. He looked at Owen, wearing his championship medal, face bright with joy, talking excitedly about the winning goal. Trevor's son, who called him Dad, who trusted him, who loved him. Trevor thought about the man he used to be, arrogant, shallow, cruel, measuring worth by jobs and income. That man had lost everything that mattered and did not even know it. The man Trevor was becoming understood. Real success was not in boardrooms or bank accounts. It was here, in this diner booth, celebrating a child's soccer victory, being part of something real. Paige looked at Trevor. "What are you thinking about?" "How lucky I am," Trevor said. "Lucky that you gave me a second chance. Lucky that Owen forgave me. Lucky that I get to be here." Paige nodded. "You earned it, Trevor. You did the work." After they finished eating, Trevor paid the bill. They walked outside into the spring afternoon. The boys ran ahead to the cars. Paige and Trevor walked slowly behind them. "Thank you for today," Paige said. "For coaching Owen's team. For bringing us here. For being a good father. Thank you for giving me the chance." They reached the cars. The boys piled into Paige's SUV, waved goodbye to Trevor. Trevor drove home thinking about the journey. 3 years ago, Cedar Peak Lodge, mocking Paige in front of colleagues, then the doors opening, his world collapsing, the long climb back, therapy, classes, visits, trust slowly earned. He still had work to do. He was not perfect. He made mistakes, but he was trying, showing up, being present, and that was enough. 2 years later, the Riverside development opened to widespread acclaim. Paige's innovative design won international awards. Mixed-use development with affordable housing, community green spaces, accessible design, everything she had envisioned. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was on a Saturday in June. Hundreds of people attended, city officials, business leaders, community members, media. Douglas Carver stood beside Paige at every ceremony. Proud as any father, Trevor attended with Owen, now 11 years old. Their relationship had deepened into genuine affection, built on consistency, trust, love. Paige gave a speech, articulate, visionary, powerful. She talked about design that serves communities, about creating spaces where people thrive, about architecture as a tool for social good. The crowd applauded. Paige smiled, gracious, confident, in her element. Owen whispered to Trevor, "Mom is amazing, is not she?" "She is," Trevor agreed. "She always was. I was just too foolish to see it." After the ceremony, the three of them stood together. Not a family in the traditional sense, but something equally valuable. Two adults who had found mutual respect through hardship. CO parenting a remarkable child. Paige looked at Trevor. "You have changed, genuinely changed. You gave me the motivation," Trevor replied. "Owen gave me the purpose. You did the work yourself," Paige said. "That matters." They stood in comfortable silence, watching Owen explore the development's community garden, running between raised beds, examining the architecture with his mother's analytical eye. Trevor felt peace, not the absence of regret. The regret would always be there. 7 years he could never reclaim, harm he could never fully repair, but peace in knowing he was becoming someone better, someone his son could be proud of. His phone buzzed, a text from his mother Diane. She wanted to take Owen to a museum next weekend. Trevor smiled, texted back. He would love that. His sister Kesha was flying in from Atlanta next month. She visited twice a year now. The boys loved their aunt. She was funny, energetic, made Trevor tell embarrassing childhood stories. Trevor had family now. Real family, built on love, not obligation. Owen ran back to them. "Can we go see the fountain?" "Absolutely," Paige said. They walked through the development together. The fountain was in the center plaza. Children played in the water. Parents watched from benches. Community members gathered, talking, laughing, belonging. This was what Paige had built. Not just buildings, community, connection, home. They stood at the fountain. Owen asked if he could put his feet in. Paige said yes. Owen pulled off his shoes and socks, waded in, splashed, grinned. Paige looked at Trevor. "Thank you for being here today. I would not miss it." "You are a good father, Trevor. I am trying. You are succeeding." Trevor watched his son play in the fountain, thought about everything that led to this moment. The cruelty, the consequences, the choice to change, the slow work of redemption. He thought about Cedar Peak Lodge. 3 years ago, the man who sat by that fireplace, mocking, arrogant, empty. That man was gone. In his place, someone humbler, kinder, more whole, not because of one dramatic moment, but because of 1,000 small choices. To show up, to listen, to try. Trevor pulled out his phone, opened his journal app, wrote, "I spent years chasing the wrong things, measuring success by my father's broken metrics. I destroyed something beautiful because I was too afraid to choose differently. But Paige showed me that people can build something extraordinary from rubble. She did it with her career, her life, our son, Now I'm trying to do it with myself, not to win her back. I lost that forever. But to become someone Owen can be proud to call dad. Someone I can be proud to be. The journey is long, but for the first time in my life, I am heading in the right direction." He closed the journal, looked at Owen, splashing, laughing, free. That was success. Real success. Not wealth, not status, not his father's approval, but this, being present, being honest, being worthy of the trust a child placed in him. Owen waved. "Dad, come in. The water feels good." Trevor looked at Paige. She smiled. "Go ahead." Trevor pulled off his shoes and socks, rolled up his pants, waded into the fountain. Owen splashed him. Trevor splashed back. They laughed together. Father and son, playing in the water on a perfect June day. Paige took a photo, sent it to Trevor later. He saved it, looked at it often, a reminder of how far he had come, how far he still had to go. Life was not perfect. Trevor still had hard days. Days when the regret felt crushing. Days when he wondered if he was doing enough, being enough. But he had Owen, and Owen had him. And together they were building something real, something that would last. That evening, Trevor dropped Owen back at Paige's house. The boy hugged him goodbye. "Love you, Dad." "Love you too, buddy." Trevor drove home. His 2-bedroom apartment in Rogers Park. Not fancy, but full of Owen's presence. Drawings on the walls, books on the shelves, a telescope by the window. He made dinner, sat on the couch, thought about tomorrow. He would work on a new project. Affordable housing development on the west side. Community integrated design. The kind of work that mattered. Wednesday, he would pick up Owen from school. Dinner, homework, laughter. Saturday, he had lunch with his mother. His life was full, not of things, of people, of purpose, of meaning. Trevor thought about the audience, about you, watching this story, maybe seeing yourself in his mistakes, maybe hoping for your own second chance. He wanted you to know, it is possible, not easy, not quick, but possible. You have to face what you did. No excuses, no justifications. You have to do the work. Therapy, classes, honest self-examination. You have to show up, consistently, even when it is hard, especially when it is hard. And you have to measure success differently, not by what you gain, but by who you become. Trevor had lost years he could never reclaim, had caused harm he could never fully repair, but he had gained something unexpected, a second chance to be present, to be honest, to matter, not for redemption. He had not earned that, but for responsibility, honestly undertaken, and that was enough. If this story moved you, if you felt every moment of Trevor's fall and slow climb back, I need you to do something for me right now. Hit that like button, not just because you enjoyed the story, but because you believe people can change, because you believe second chances are possible when earned through real work. Drop a comment below. What is one thing you valued wrongly that you are changing today? Tell me about a time you had to rebuild trust. Tell me about your Cedar Peak moment. I want to hear your stories. And subscribe to Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, because every single week I am bringing you stories that do not just entertain, they transform. Stories that hold up a mirror and ask who you are becoming. This is more than a channel. This is a community of people choosing growth, choosing accountability, choosing real success. So subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's walk this journey together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to Trevor's story, to Paige's strength, to Owen's forgiveness. And remember, it is never too late to choose differently. It is never too late to face your mistakes. It is never too late to become someone worthy of trust. Second chances are not given. They are earned, one difficult choice at a time. Now go, look at your life, look at your relationships, look at what you are chasing, and ask yourself, am I measuring success by what matters, or by what I was taught to value? The answer to that question will change everything. Until next time, this is Love and Twilights with Dr. Phillips, reminding you that the best stories are not about perfection. They are about transformation, and your transformation starts today.